Hey, Mark.
Hey, Jason, how are you doing today?
Great. How are you?
Oh, good. Good to see you.
All right. So we're beautiful spring day.
Yep.
We're at Great Bend Co-op. We're gonna go take a drive.
All right. Sounds good.
Okay, Mark. So Great Bend Co-op. Tell me a little bit about the business. Tell me a little bit about what you do around here.
So we're a full-service cooperative. We've been around 60 years now. We actually just had our 60th anniversary here a few weeks ago.
Happy birthday.
Thank
Anniversary.
you. I've been with the co-op about going on 3 years now, coming right up. So I have a great love for agriculture, obviously, and technology. So I like to use those tools to help growers realize sustainability and return on investment.
So you lead the precision ag team there,
Yeah.
correct?
Yep.
So what does that entail?
I work with a whole bunch of different tools, anywhere from soil sampling to grid sampling, zone sampling, helping build management zones, working with guys on, starting to collect yield data. I kind of think that we're a little bit behind, the Corn Belt on technology, so it's kind of my goal to try to get everybody caught up a little bit. A lot of the guys in our area have the ability to collect yield, but don't really so much. They've never pulled the yield data off their monitor, so I've been working with guys to
Take advantage of those electronics they paid for, right?
absolutely, yeah. See that variability. They know the variability in their field, but I think it's a lot different when you can actually see it on paper and start to take action from it.
Yeah, I think that's right. I think people generally know what parts of the field perform better when they're looking at the monitor, right, inside the cab. But once you get to see it, start to really understand if we're having an impact by some of the decisions we're making. That's when you really start to unlock some potential there.
We went all in with Winfield on their R7 tool.
Okay.
And I started using that, along with the yield data to kind of show guys variability with the in-season imagery. And from there, I went with some other tools, and shortly after, we started looking at Farmobile for a couple of our customers that didn't have the ability to collect yield with their combines because it was going to be too expensive. So that was a great opportunity for us to throw a couple of bucks in there and save them some serious money up front and be able to collect that yield data, especially because they were already doing some of the zone management. We had no way to check ourselves.
Sure. So you're using the imagery to make this asset of that data, and at some point in time you may choose to use it internally to hand it down to whomever you want. But that's what really drives the data store potential in what we do, is having that data collected and organized in a way that can be easily accessible for people who want to buy large quantities of that data and combine it together.
Yep. Yeah, and we see that with everything. We're starting to get big on the sustainability side with Land O'Lakes, and the more data that we can get, that's really the name of the game these days. Is data.
So
it's data.
That brings me to the next part of the conversation. Give me around, it's the combination. Then we've got the grower side who, they have a few struggles collecting some of the data, right? Yep. Especially, I think, accurate planting records are one that it's taken us a few years to really educate our customers on why that's important. Mm-hmm. But I think we're getting closer and closer there now. And the reason that's so important is that is the birth date of the crop. Knowing the variety, knowing the population, knowing which fields it was in, gives you the ability to then use some of the research. I've seen a ton of this from the answer plots about what seed varieties react best to which fungicide and at what growth stage. And when you have all of that up front, it allows you to really target in on which fields that you can aim to hit to really have the most return on that ROI for that investment of that application.
We're a little bit different than most co-ops. We have our agronomy department, which is chemical and fertilizer, but we have a whole separate seed division. Okay. They're not part of our agronomy
their data collection we talked about. From a retailer side of things, you guys have pucked your fleet.
Mm-hmm.
Plays in nice, I think, with the sustain program and being able to have that data, and the combination of being able to take the data that the growers are collecting and then kind of layer that data in with the stuff that you as the co-op is able to bring together. That's a pretty powerful combination.
Right. If we can start matching some of this data up to some of these fields, or getting some of this application that we're doing into our growers' accounts who are using pucks or even into the sustained metrics. That's kind of one of the things that I've been working with Winfield on, is making the data entry for sustain easier. And part of the biggest headache of that is all the application passes that we got to do. If we can figure out a way to funnel that directly in from what we've already got, man, that would make life easier for us.
Well, and you guys have made a commitment from the top down to really lead, I think, in this category, and the ability to bring all that stuff together, I believe, is going to help separate you from a lot of the other choices that the growers have when you can add this different additional level of service.
Yeah.
Can you explain just kind of some of the things that you're doing so far with that fleet data, some of the things that you're doing internally, or some of the use cases that you're beginning to put together from having that fleet pucked?
Yeah, as the variable rate side of things gets bigger and bigger, where thumb drives are a nightmare. And as much as I'd like to say I do it right every time, I've written a few prescriptions wrong, or had issues where they didn't come out right, they wouldn't load right, whatever. There were instances where we'd have to drive almost an hour away just to go load a new script or something like that. So the file transfer was big for us initially. Having the application data was the second big thing. A lot of these guys who are doing the variable rate application are wanting that as applied data. So if we got a puck in there, we're sending it the script, we automatically have the as applied data. We don't have to try to go get it off the monitor. The third thing was just fleet management. We're really trying to hone in on some of our idle time, just trying to keep our costs down in our application. So having the reports that thing offers with where it's at, how much runtime we're getting, how much idle time we're getting, how much travel time we're getting, those have been really helpful. Our dispatcher was a little skeptical of it in the beginning, but he absolutely loves it now.
That's not uncommon. That's one of the big hurdles to get over, right?
Yep. So yeah, it's been really good for us, and we're even looking at putting it on some of our tanker trucks and our tender trucks, just so we can go out and or so he can see and know when's that tanker going to be, where his next stop is, or something like that.
So do you guys run a mixed fleet?
We're mostly case rigs. We do have a couple of Venturi dry machines, but they're running case boxes and Ravens anyway. So, but yeah, we're pretty well case fleet.
One of the use cases that we learned, I'm not going to say this past fall, but the fall before, was you've got a grower who's enrolled in your program, and you're able to get the harvest data, the day after, in a good enough quality that you can write a rec from it.
Yep.
And then you're not waiting until the end of the season when the farmer's done with maybe all of his fields to process them and turn them into recs. Now you've been able to lengthen your ability to apply in the fall. So right when those fields get done that you can within a couple of days get that fertility crop removal script running on that, and you've basically been able to lengthen the time of applicating. Have you guys noticed any of that yet, or is it still a little bit early for you guys on that side?
The biggest problem that we've had, with this, especially this last fall, is the weather.
It's awful.
Yeah, just hard. Not that it's ever easy to predict, but hard to work around, I guess,